Diablo 4 Season 3 is right around the corner. In fact, tomorrow we're supposed to be getting the patch notes for it, and 2 days after that, we're getting the developer live stream, which is a full deep dive of information that's supposed to explain everything we're going to expect. Now, in my previous video I just put out on the channel, I talked about what we already knew, showing things from like the BlizzCon footage where they actually bluntly tell us things like the Gauntlet, the challenge leaderboards, etc. are coming. And in that video, I went back to look at the comments this morning, and some of the comments were pretty funny. So I thought, let's read some of the Diablo 4 Season 3 comments that people are leaving and pick through them. It should be kind of fun. Okay, now the first one is by Drewbert, and he is referencing the Diablo 4 Season 3 teaser showed a bunch of gears, you know, cogwheels, you could call them, goes through it into an intro and says evil looms, and that was sort of the teaser. Now, this is sort of in a discussion at the moment because Grinding Gear Games, the company that owns and runs Path of Exile, that's sort of their intro. They go in through, you know, grinding gears, who were the guests, into whatever teaser they're going to be doing. So Drew Bird is referencing that and says, I think the Grinding Gears teaser is honestly just a marketing thing because of the recent wave of D4 players trying out PoE. Either way, it got people talking, so it definitely worked. Well, one thing is it did get people talking. There's multiple videos. I made a video not just discussing that, but like I said, most of the things coming in Season 3, as well as I saw Riker had a video sort of talking about, and there's multiple people that sort of have covered that just in general. Now, it could be a coincidence. It could be a marketing tactic. I know there's plenty of people that are playing PoE. You got Rax playing PoE. I've been playing PoE very heavily. You have Rage Gaming. I know this has been doing his own PoE, and he was a D4 coverer as well. Riker, I believe, played a little bit of PoE. Woody even played some PoE as well. So you have a large amount of people that are mainly Diablo players who have been sort of going to Path of Exile. And I've seen a lot of comments as well as people like, I'm new to Path of Exile. I started watching your videos, noticed you play PoE, and I'm trying out, I'm loving the game, etc. So it could be a marketing tactic. It could just be a coincidence. You know, Grinding Gear Games doesn't own a monopoly on using steampunk or cogwheel related things. So it could absolutely just be a coincidence, or it could be a smart marketing tactic like Drew Burt here says. All right, Philip J. Fry here says, I am thrilled we can continue to beta test Diablo 4 into Season 3. You know, harsh but somewhat fair. They are having to change and add mid-game, in-game, and change the way itemization works. So that's a good amount of core of the gameplay that's being changed. I suppose you could say it almost is like a beta test. Hurts to say it a little bit, but all right, not that far off. Now, this is an interesting comment. He says, I was convinced I'd get my Sorcerer to 100 in Season 2. I got it to 94 and got real bored. I did enjoy the leveling, though. It was quicker and more fun than Season 1. Hopefully, Season 3 can get me interested again. Now, this is, I think, a pretty fair point. This is actually sort of how I felt, which is that I believe they have decent to good early game. The campaign's great, all that. When you do it the first time after that, the leveling process is much quicker now. The mid-game with things like the Uber bosses, Uber Durio, even Lilith could really be considered sort of a mid-game at this point, is better. And then we need in-game. So right around the level 90s, 95s or so, when you can clear most things in the game, that is when the content starts to fall off, and I think that's fair. I agree with them. It was quicker and more fun than Season 1. I think Season 1 was basically a miss. Season 2 was significantly better. Everyone at the start of Season 2 was enjoying it, and it wasn't until later on into Season 2 when complaints started rolling in again about lack of things to do as we had all blown through the content. So this is a fair and balanced comment that I agree with. Red Will here says, the problem with leaderboards in a game like Diablo 4 is only about 10 people will actually care about being on the leaderboards. Beyond the top 10, which will likely either be bots, exploiters, or streamers farming runs for content, very few others will care at all that they even exist. Now, I'm mixed on this one because I know there is groups of hardcore players, and those are typically the players that stay in games longer, that do care about having ways to sort of show where they are on the leaderboard. And I know there are people that care about leaderboards. We recently did a hardcore like solo self-found speed race to World Tier 3 that I was shoutcasting with Riker, which was quite a bit of fun. And it made me realize that having the leaderboard itself might not be exciting, because I actually would tend to agree. I'm not a leaderboard Andy. I don't actually care about competition that much. I'm going to make the game what I want it to be for the most part with these games. But having access to the leaderboard is almost a tool, and maybe the community can create something around that tool, or maybe they can create something around that tool in the future. I do think the leaderboards are supposed to be tied more to gameplay like the Gauntlet, and hopefully the gameplay itself is enjoyable, so maybe you don't care about the leaderboards, but you do care about the content in which the leaderboards is enabling, if that makes sense. And so, interesting point here by Red Will. Another fair comment here. Mix Meister says, hopefully they bring stuff right out of left field and we're all surprised. Me too. I hope so though as well. I'm not hopeful, but we will see. I will play each season a bit as the game is fun. It just lacks longevity. This is true. When I am enjoying the game, it is in the start of the season. I will play the game. It gives me a few weeks to maybe a month. And after that, I agree it's been lacking longevity. And I try not to hammer on this point too much because I think most people really agree and we don't need to scream D4 bad over and over again. But I do tend to agree. I will be playing each of the season launches. I'll play season 3, I'll play season 4, and I will enjoy the start of each of these. And if by the end of season 4 itemization isn't solved or the itemization solution is just a miss, I'll probably just wait for the expansion and maybe see if I'm interested in the expansion and not try anything further at that point. So I think this is another fair comment. So here's one comment. Teasers are for games people want to play. If you want an audience back from ruining it, you need to drop a full reveal. Pretty brutal. I don't know if I necessarily agree, not because of the harshness of the tone, but the fact that I think teases for games are fine. They are going to drop a full reveal. This is a tease for the full reveal. We know we're getting full patch notes and we're getting the developer update live stream. So I'm unsure if what he means is don't say anything until you have something to say, which I guess is a fair point, or if it's just like we don't want to hear news about a game that I don't like. I don't necessarily mind having a little Twitter post teaser. I don't think that that is doing anything harmful for the game, and they already announced that we are getting the full reveal upcoming, so not a big deal for me. Now, this is an interesting point. Loom is a fabric manufacturing tool, so I took that as that plus the gears as an implication that maybe they will expand crafting. So what he's saying is Evo looms, he's saying the loom is a crafting item, that the gears, maybe they're doing some crafting related thing to it. Crafting could be a big W for the game, yeah. So Ninja here says, I expect new season to be good enough for a playthrough. I hate being that guy, but no itemization changes has not got me excited in the slightest. Hopefully they release more information and held stuff back because so far it sounds too underwhelming. I want to be positive towards D4, but they aren't giving me much to be excited about. This is all fair feedback. In fact, I made my own video saying that my biggest issue is that while I agree season 4 itemization will be a big W if they get the itemization right, making people wait basically a year after the product's release for itemization is an issue as well. So I think mentioning that itemization is taking a while to change is fair feedback. Though I do like that he acknowledged that new season's good enough for a playthrough. Season 1, Season 2, and hopefully Season 3 will all be good enough to come in for a week or two, play it, level your character up till you get bored, and then when you're bored, it's perfectly fine to move on and do something else, play a different game. Last Epoch will be in competition sometime around, just after Season 3 launch here as well. So I'm sure some people will go to play that, but that's sort of what I'm expecting on myself as well. I'll do a playthrough. I'll probably hit level 100, try out whatever the new content is, and at that point there will be something else going on I will move to. And then Azurus, hopefully I got that right, says, I know this won't happen probably ever, but imagine Grinding Gears PoE and Blizzard's Diablo 4 would have some kind of collab. One can dream. That would be fantastic. These are 2 games I play, 2 games the audience that I make videos for play, and 2 games that honestly have somewhat similar audience bases. That would be cool, though they are somewhat direct competitors, and I doubt that would happen, but, one can dream for sure. But these are more or less what the comments look like. There's a whole bunch more comments just kind of leaving memes about, like, I wonder what Nightmare Dungeon we're going to run this time, or what color the Hell type will be for Season 3. So I'll spare you reading like 15 of those, but some interesting comments, some pretty good giggles in here. Like, I'm going to call it now. You get a new colored zone, you collect pink stuff instead of red. All right, yeah, you got me. Yeah, fair enough. But that's about it. I love you all. I'll see you on the next video. Hopefully Season 3 information when it comes out tomorrow is full of all kinds of good stuff, but we'll find out and make a video on it then. I'm going to go live, and I'll see you on the live stream.